declining? Is it accelerating? What is it doing? So we're going to make some rough assumptions that we kind of all know what happened last year with land and with commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is coming back, investors are coming back, and we know what it is over here. So we have a company, and each of you are going to kind of have your own feeling as to where you are based on your group, right? So you guys can just and use your own where you are for this conversation. But the question, I think what you're saying, is that let the market dictate what your growth is going to be, or use it as kind of a crash test, as guidelines. And you should absolutely consider market factors. You know, don't be too aggressive so that you're not, because if you're too aggressive on revenue projections, then you're going to be too aggressive on your cost expenditures. So but having said all of that, the whole purpose of this exercise is to say, is that regardless of what the market is going to do, we've established kind of a stretch goal of 1.4 million, and we're going to build up a revenue wheel of how many deals we need to do, what the average selling price is, et cetera. And the ideas that you're coming out on your grid that we're going to consider and then rank, just for the purposes of showing you how that tool works in a group setting. Whatever the market, if the pie shrinks, we're going to get our market share. You know, we're going to go create additional deals out of the marketplace. We're going to get some of those properties that have been on the market too long in the traditional market, and we're going to convert them to auctions. Because the market's shrinking, you have an opportunity to go in and talk to them because that property hasn't sold, right? You get more foreclosures, et cetera. So it's about, you're going to build a plan that is going to be conservative on the expenditure side, but it's going to be, it's going to push you to drive revenue growth. Is that, regardless of what the market conditions are, right? Okay, so with, how are we going to get to the 1.4? So we have a 300K. We're trying to grow the business by roughly 300K. I want to make this easy math, guys. Let's make the equipment 200,000. So that adds up to $1 million, and then this ends up 400K, and that's basically a 40% increase. That's one of our goals, to drive a 40% increase in our income coming into the company. Okay? So the question is, and then down here, are we going to change our rates? You guys already went to the max. All right? Can you get any rate accretion? Can you get any rate pressures or anything in here? Now we could change the assumption just so, and actually I want to change the assumption. Let's go below what you think we can get so we can have some ideas. Let's go below, that's actually probably pretty good. In our personal property, let's say that we're actually at 10, and I know all you guys are cringing saying, I would never do that. And don't worry, I'm not trying to, we're just having a conversation about commission. But let's just say it's 10 for the personal property. Now, you know that there's ideas to get up to the 30, right? Or you can go out and sell the seller commission and buyer's premium. So we've got a 5% on real estate and 20% on equipment. So there's an opportunity. So what's the kind of our stretch goal over here on this particular metric? I want to get it to 30, right? 30% personal property, 5% real estate, and 20% equipment. What about staffing? Do we need more staffing to go after that 40% growth? That's a lot of growth. How many? 3 more? Okay, so we're going to end up the year with 3 more. So we're going to have 10 total people. And those people are going to be all business development people? Do you need any more admin people, or are they all business development people? They have to be all business development people, right? Anything? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you don't put stretch goal challenges on your real estate or your equipment, aren't you basically driving that 40% increase by volume instead of commission?
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. And that's exactly right. So you're not changing in other words, we've determined, quickly, guys, you got to run with this. What we're doing is just putting in some variables so you can kind of look back to it and say, this is kind of what our idea is. So what we're saying, and it's a great point, is we don't think in our plan that we can go after it from a rate perspective other than on this one. So the rest of it has to be volume, right? So if you did the math and you went to go reallocate it, you have the same rate here, you're getting a 20% bump on this, right? Or you're getting 3x on that. That number alone would almost explain most of the 40%. So you're going to get most of your growth, according to this, because you're not getting, is going to come right in the personal property, and it's going to be explained by getting a rate increase, right? So the question is if you can do that, if you can make that stick, then the question is, are you going after, and are these business development people going to be going after real estate, or are they going to be going after personal property, or they're going to be somebody that allows you to convince people to pay you more money? So, okay? Okay, so 10 people, and you're going to have 7 business development people, so you're going to have 7 more people going out there. Okay, so one of your strategies is to hire additional people, 1099 people, and bring them on the team that are going to go out and generate more business, profitable business. Yes, sir.
Just a thought, I don't know if you can add more business development people and not add support staff.
Well, you know, it's interesting because actually, you guys, we all had a meeting about a week ago, and we determined that our admin staff is so good that they are in fact scalable, and we do it. And the people that we're adding are remote, so they're not consuming resources in the office. You have an office, your main office, and those resources are actually across the state. So you're hiring bird dogs out there that are going to bring it into your same infrastructure and your same overhead, so you're getting leverage on your business. Same amount of infrastructure, same amount of overhead, same amount of square footage, copiers, or whatever else. And you might have to even, strategically, guys, you might have to even implement some new technologies to be able to get that paperwork in or communicate differently, right? So those are potentially some of the ideas to support this. Okay, I don't know if we have any tape. Jimmy Dean, did we ever get any tape?
We'll get something.
Okay. All right, close. Okay, so we're going to grow our revenue by 40%. We're going to do it in part by increasing rate. We're going to do it also by the people. I think that's probably a little bit of a softball because so much of it's coming from rate. So I think actually, for purposes of illustration, I think you should say, we're going to add those 3 people and they're going to be bird dogs for real estate. And they're going to go out and get some more. I think we're going to double our real estate. Okay? We're going to double it from 500,000 to $1 million, so that goes up to $1 million. And this number is going to look huge. $1 million, about 300,000 comes from this, and 200 goes to about 300.6. Okay. All right. So we increased the number to 1.6. You're going to grow from 1 to 1.6. Okay, because you haven't been as real estate focused in the past. You've been relatively passive. You've been doing a lot of personal property auctions, and you're going to grow the real estate business because you've determined that there's an open window. You're in an area where there's fill in the blank wherever you guys as a team decide to have commercial, timberland, farmland, REO property, entire developments that you're going to go secure. Okay. So now, one of the things we just talked about is you're adding 3 new people, and you're going to try to go and double your real estate. And pick a property type that you guys want to kind of mess with as far as where you're going to get your growth. You've traditionally got it. Let's say we're in the Southeast as a company. Is that okay, everybody? And we have not had a big timberland practice in the past. So one of the strategies is we're going to go grow our timberland business. Does that work for everyone? Or you want to do oil and gas? What do you want to do? You got timber? Okay. So one of the strategies, again, is you have little or no timberland. You've had 1 or 2 successful deals, and you see there's an opportunity. Timberland low exposure, and then you're going to go to timberland high. Timberland, and it showed up in your vision statement. Timberland focus. Okay? So you weren't there before. You kind of passively got it as it came by across your desk, and now you're going to actually go after it. Part of the guys you're going to hire are going to specifically go after those kind of properties. They know who the clients are. They're coming on board. They might be a forester. They might be whatever, right? So that's who you're going to go, oh, and let's say, oh, you know what? I think we can grow our farm business. And we're going to grow our farm business, so we didn't have somebody, but you know what? I think we want to grow our farm business too, and that's how we're going to get some of that real estate stuff, our farmland sales. And we're going to increase that as well. We don't know exactly what the mix is going to be, but we think these people can generate access to a lot of potential customers. And let's even go one step further and say it's oil and gas. So no oil and gas, no oil and gas, and now we have oil and gas. oil and gas leases. We're gonna do some oil and gas lease marketing, and we're gonna grow that. Okay. So, we've got more people, we've got more revenue. What else do we want to do this year? We've got an opportunity to grow our recreational real estate business. And so we want to focus on our recreational, so we want to increase that recreational real estate. And let's say, even say commercial. These opportunities we have not been focused on in the past. A lot of stuff. So what we're looking for is ideas to be able to go after any of these markets. So this might be, getting more active in the local chapters of Ducks Unlimited or whatever you want to do. This is actually understanding what the dynamics are and understanding where the plays are in your area and actually going out and proactively engaging it. The farmland you're going to increase, and you think you might want to go in, one of your business development people are here. There's one there, and there's one here, and there's one here, and then the team that already existed is going to kind of go after this. And you actually may even, let's do this. Let's do farmland. Let's say you already had that guy, and you're going to get a commercial person. Okay? So that means you have to reposition the company. Now, granted, remember, you'd be doing your planning in October, November. So you'd already kind of see where you were. Right now, it's a little bit awkward because we're in March, and we're already midway into 14. What we're starting to do is actually say, how are we going to get the growth? It's not like you start with those random numbers and just trying to get a case anymore. Yes, sir. Hold on.
I was just going to say another option could be, to hear what you're saying, why not take another ancillary service that you can have within the company instead of restructuring the whole firm and using it to focus on something like commercial, let's say like an appraisal side of the business, where now you're in the front lines all the time and it's your foot in the door for the commercial. So you can take off the appraisal hat, put on the auction hat, or put on the real estate hat, and build the business up that way instead of having to go through a major expense of a full restructuring of the firm. And now you're not only building up the commercial side of the appraisal, but you're also building up the commercial side for the actual sale of the property itself too.
Okay, so
You could double up in a way.
Okay, so what would you suggest we do here? I mean, what's the scenario? We're just building a scenario.
Well, depending on what you're going to identify as the prime, I mean, not recreational as much as my focus would go to, but say commercial a lot because there's a lot of it that hasn't hit the marketplace yet. Places need to be liquidated first. While you're in there, anytime you're dealing with a property manager or if you're dealing with an investor group, you're dealing with a point person that has authoritative decision, the power to sign a contract, you can get in there and you can discuss it to them so he can bring to the investors. And if he can bring it to the investors, and it sounds like a viable option, many times they have more than one commercial property. If you have the opportunity to sit down with them, you can look at 10 or dozen.
Okay, so you're suggesting expand the relationships with the existing customers you've had where you've done one or two deals with them?
Or even the deals you're not getting in to begin with to look at appraising, let's say all the equipment, all the facets of the entire building or the warehouse. And now you have the ability to grow that in terms of the appraisal business or the liquidation of that on the personal property side. But now you're in there trying to build that relationship. What do you do with the commercial? And then we'll plan together.
Okay, so that goes back to this, but you're going to have a new person, aren't you, that actually has that DNA?
But what happens if someone already has it in the company that you can
Okay.
grow on that?
How about partnering with a commercial real estate firm in the area? That's a stretch. By the way, now we're starting to get into actually some ideas. You want to grow your commercial real estate business, you can either bring someone in-house or you can go out and network with CBRE, Colliers, and other people and actually say, hey, I'm over here as the auctioneer partner. You can go to RE/MAX, you can go to Century 21, you can go to all the various brands and say, hey, I'm here, and I'm here to service you, and I'm here to actually help you play the auction card, because most of them don't have it, right?
Would you be relying in that facet? Would you be relying in that model on the third party to bring you the business versus the
Yes.
actual individual where you're dealing on the front lines and you build those relationships directly?
It depends how clever you are, right? Because if you go in and meet with the owner of a RE/MAX office, and again, I'm obviously, I'm cringing a little bit using these other terms, but you go in, look, if I've got a really strong commercial real estate group that's sitting in Portland or sitting in the Bay Area, and they don't play the auction card, who better to go talk to and say, look, I can provide auction services for you for the clients that absolutely need to dispose of their properties. And even if you have a strategic partner like we do with Colliers, they use other auctioneers from time to time, and they're free to do whatever, but we do play the card together when we pursue deals together. But we encourage our offices to go talk to CBRE and everyone else and say, look, you've got the ability to go in and have a conversation with them. They might want to play the auction card. They might have a bank that needs to dispose of something, or a client that needs an investor that needs to dump a portfolio. So that's a strategic, in other words, your strategy idea, and now we're going to start putting them on paper. So I'll keep adding stuff as the conversation goes, okay, into this scenario. The strategy, are you guys strategy? Sales, okay, so your strategy. So your strategy idea on this column over here would be, in other words, the strategy is to expand our commercial real estate auction business. That's the number one strategy. You guys are gonna come up with the additional ones, okay? And that's your first one. And you guys are gonna spin your chairs around and you're gonna come up with some additional ones based on the scenario we said. If you run out of, if you wanna come up with another one, if any of you have any things that you're actually doing in your market that you'd like to add up here, just holler out, say, hey, I got another thing that I'd like to put on the board describing our business. We're all one company, okay? This is the case study. As you guys start to talk and you want to share with each other, hey, I know you and Brad have strategies to grow your business this upcoming year. So if you want to share, none of these gentlemen are in your market. So why don't you go ahead and just share, hey, here's where we're focused regarding your partnership or whatever with Brian, Philpott or whatever, and how you potentially can gain more business there. Lay it on the table, share generously with others, and give them the idea, oh, if there's a big land lender, hard money land lender in your area, you may want to go talk to them. These guys have a hard money land lender in their area. They do a tremendous amount of business, and guess what? They don't have an auction services partner. And they are looking to be able to play that card. They do traditional brokers, land brokers, for their own account and otherwise, right? If I'm you guys, especially on the auction side, man, I'm all over those dudes, because they are whopper deals. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they handed another auctioneer this $70 million deal in the last 12 months. So, and with your relationship, I mean, Brian was kind of shocked that we had as deep of resources as we had, right? So, let's share those ideas. So if you've got a local initiative that you're pushing forward to try to open up your business, I'll come around, I'll start dropping ones in too as we're going. So did you guys get that? Did you guys get that one? And again, raise your hand for strategy. Strategic, I mean. Okay, 1, 2, and you guys are marketing, and sales? Marketing? Okay. All right, so let's go to sales. Okay. Now we're going to talk about an example for sales. As opposed to, let's go to marketing first, and then we'll come back to sales. So marketing, raise your hand one more time. Okay. So marketing, give us a marketing idea based on what we just talked about. It's just an initiative. We're sitting in a room. We're saying, hey, I think we're going to grow our timberland business or farm. How about, let me give you one. You're going to send a solicitation out to all of your local association of consulting foresters, saying that your office is open for business, and if their clients have it, we'd like to do business with you. Right? You're going to procure a list. This is another idea, second idea. You're going to procure a list of all timberland owners in your area of the country, wherever this hypothetical office is, right? And you're going to do a mailing to them. So your idea, it's tactical, but you're going to do a mailing to the large timberland owners. You're also going to procure a list of medium to small size TIMO companies, timber investment management organizations in your area, and you're going to not just mail them, you're going to go set up a meeting, put your foot in the door, and go have a conversation. Here's another idea. You're going to need to create a collateral piece that allows you to have that conversation, right? You guys follow me? Create a collateral, okay. Okay, so back here. Sales. Sales is a little trickier. And I think as it relates as a separate group, it's really, I think we might want to, for the purposes of offices, we're not going to call it sales/business development. So the idea I just gave to marketing, the marketing component of going after the TIMOs, the medium-sized TIMOs, the marketing component is to actually build the collateral piece. The sales piece is to actually book the meeting. Because you're going to set up appointments with 10 TIMOs in your area or 5 large timber holding companies in your area. Or you might set up meetings on the sales side from a business development, sales/business development. You would set up a meeting with some timber buyers or timber brokers in your area. And you might say, well, why would I go talk to them? Well, because they know who owns the land, they know who might want to sell it, and it's an intentional networking and business development exercise that's on your plan. It's an idea that someone on the team came up with. Okay? Yes, sir.
And this may bleed together with the strategic plan, but for our marketing aspect, if we targeted industrial committees of municipalities that happen to be, we pre-researched that they were in an enterprise zone, for instance.
Right.
And we targeted our marketing towards the municipalities and the industrial committees of those
Yep.
areas.
Yeah, that's a perfect idea. We didn't really put it up there, but that's great. And that's like an example of an idea that you have, maybe you're even working in your office. Okay. And then go ahead and share with the team and say, this is how we're gonna grow it. It may not be in our direct case study, but just raise your hand and say, hey, we're gonna go after municipalities to get their excess equipment and their surplus stuff and go sell it.
Right, and so basically, I'm thinking with commercial recovering the way it is too, and this is kind of bleeding into the strategic planning of it as well, but you almost have to get to the marketing point. But targeting enterprise zone, because there's a lot of funding going out. I'm sure everybody knows that states are, I don't know if every state is, our state is putting 100 of them out this year. Who gets it, I don't know, but everybody has to apply to get it, and they spend a lot of money to get to that point. They hire their own engineers to put their own package together for that. But if we targeted them and went to those individual municipalities where we knew for a fact they were going to get the enterprise zone system,
Right.
we could then market in that regard. In other words, maybe we could even hire somebody who sits on that industrial committee.
There you go. That's right. So you're on the marketing side, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're the marketing ideas, and I think at this point, what I'd like to get is a couple of, you guys put your heads together and think about, if you start seeing it's a business development activity or a sales activity, let the other teams do it. They don't have to tie entirely. I just want to get a couple different ideas that are related to marketing. Whatever you guys are working on locally, like an idea like that, we're going to drop a collateral piece 6 times. We're going to drip market into the procurement offices of municipalities, or we're going to go after the real estate office for all the major metropolitan areas in your area where they have foreclosed property or tax foreclosures where they've been sitting on them, and you go in with a value proposition of saying, I'm going to convert your non-tax paying inventory to new ownership, and we're going to get some tenants in there, and we're going to get that back on the tax rolls. The stuff that they foreclosed on, or they basically put a tax lien on and they now have possession of, right? Kansas City alone has somewhere upwards of 1,500 homes that they've taken possession of. And to my knowledge, I'm not certain that anyone's really gone in there and painted it for them, that they have an opportunity to convert that into cash and get people paying their taxes, get someone in that home, an investor to rent it, or someone getting in that home. They're sitting on it, they're being inefficient with their disposition. So that's a business development exercise, but the marketing exercise is that collateral piece. Build a collateral piece to support the business development exercise of going into the procurement office of a municipality or whatever, so that you can tell your story, okay? So the marketing piece is how do you get the components that support whatever business development. So if you guys know, yeah.
I'm sorry. And I don't know if everybody knows what enterprise zoning actually is. It may be state-specific and different regulations throughout. I'm from Illinois, and our state is offering no tax to the businesses that come in for building supplies. So it would be tax-free to build their building and automatically be in some sort of a TIF-type district to where their taxes would be refunded to them, blah, 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 30% per year.
Yeah,
We're happy. So it's kind of a win-win. It's gonna bring residential up as well, but there'll be a lot of commercial property ate up over that situation probably.
No doubt about it. And thank you very much. So let me give you another suggestion. This is the last one we're going to do, and then I'm going to let you guys start talking, and I'll come around. Okay, so the goal here is to get 2 or 3 ideas within that functional area that you have, get them on there, and then we're going to rank them, and you guys are going to have conversations about how well they fit. It's a little difficult because we have a hypothetical company, but I'll tell you it works. Use your own company in the back of your head as to what your capabilities are. Okay? Let me give you another example of kind of a strategic decision that one of our offices made in Pennsylvania a while back. they decided that there was the oil and gas play was coming in, and they said, we were in a planning meeting like this. Let's let the rubber meet the road here on this one. And they said, Dan, we've got, the gas fields here are starting to get developed, and we need to get into the commercial real estate, the leasing, and then we need to go one step further, and we need to get the residential activities that these corporations are bringing in their people, the folks who come work the projects. And so what's our strategy to do it? So their goal was to grow the oil and gas. Let me give you a specific example, same exact exercise. Specific example was we want to grow our oil and gas business, on the real estate side, and we want to get those customers more than our fair share of the customers. Great, fantastic. So we started talking around, we said, okay, well, if that's your strategy to grow it, they had no idea what the first step should be. So some of the ideas that came out of it from a marketing perspective, business development perspective, was first inventory all the ownership of all the minerals for across the entire play, and build a map, a digital map, and then a printed map, and be the most informed real estate office in the area as it related to who owned what, so that the oil and gas companies that were coming in to do the exploration and petroleum exploration and production companies, they knew you were the go-to partner. That was strategy number one. Strategy was to penetrate the oil and gas, this new target market. It was a stretch for them, they had never done it. The tactical plan was to get the information. The second tactical thing was to build a collateral piece, letting them know how they had a specialty group to enable people to come in. Another tactical element was to get an anchor referenceable client that was as large as possible, and they went out and got Chesapeake Energy. And Chesapeake Energy ended up being their client. And Chesapeake Energy, once they did some projects for them, and they bird-dogged leases, and they got them some commercial place to put all their equipment, some yards. They found all the ones that were zoned properly, located properly, right? Showing a lot of value and subject matter expertise. By the way, it's a true story, guys. After they did that, then they asked Chesapeake, hey, who are your subs? And who's following you into the field? They said, oh, it's so-and-so, 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 and here's the contact information, here's the phone number, whatever else. Fantastic. They started marketing into all the subs. You see what I'm talking about? There was an intentional desire. They saw what was going on in the marketplace, and they had an intentional strategy that showed up in the strategy side. We're going to expand our oil and gas presence because of what's going on, the dynamics in our local market. And then what were the tactics that were coming in? So there's some marketing things. We're going to build a collateral piece that showed up in the marketing side. On the business development side, we're going to go ring the phone at Chesapeake, and we're going to go way out of our way to meet with them and accommodate them. Okay? So, and I believe that they either brought on an oil and gas person, or they definitely tapped into some of the resources that we've brought on over the last few years. So their strategy was high level. We want to penetrate this particular market. We want to grow this particular portion of the business because of what the dynamics are in the area. The tactics that followed it, they defined them and they started fleshing it out. And so if you guys could kind of circle together and talk, and I'll come around and make sure that you've got at least one or two things, and then I'd like you to discuss and rank them from 5. It's a great fit. If you think it's super expensive or whatever else, a 5. As you go to start ranking them, excuse me, a 5 is a great fit. It's easy to execute, easy to implement. It's perfect. It's consistent with our core competencies. A 1 is poor fit. Okay, so let's go through it. So you guys can start chatting, come up with 1 or 2 ideas. All right. What do you guys have?
they're gonna stay in the mailboxes. I mean, I get stuff from our companies all the time, postcards.